This will be a day long remembered. Now I am the master.
Welcome to another episode of Legends and Theories, and this is my review of The Godfather Parts 1 and 2. And I decided to go over these movies because I had one night where I didn't have much to do. I decided to watch the first Godfather, which I recorded on my DVR like a month or two ago. I think I've been meaning to watch it, but never really did. And after I watched it, and thinking initially that it was really good, I went and watched part 2 after recording it, which I finished watching this morning as the day recording this, although it's going to be over a week until it is released, since I have already a full week planned for what I've released that week, which would be last week, from the point of view of this video. But I think that both of these films were very good, to say basically, and I can understand why they are considered classic movies. But let's go in to what I loved about these two films, and as I've said in a few other videos, I may get around to eventually reviewing the third one. If I ever decide to watch it, I probably will, but from what I heard it's a lot worse than this one, so we'll see. I'm going to talk about these movies as they're basically one, because I just feel like doing that. And I will talk about them, probably how they chronologically happen. So I'll be first considering the flashbacks of Godfather Part 2, talking about those first, and then I'll talk about the events of the main movie's plots. And going in, I first think that when looking at the story of how Vito Corleone was able to take power and go from a boy running away from a mobster to a person who was now in charge of the mob, I think that it was very good, very intriguing and interesting. I also really liked how the story worked out. I think that it was written well, and I am excited throughout the movie to see how it continues. And although it is a shorter side plot in this, I really did enjoy it and thought it was interesting. Although a few things seemed to jump around a little bit, but I didn't mind that as much and still liked it. But yeah, that's really what I think about the flashback story that takes up, I'd say, between a quarter to maybe a third of The Godfather Part 2. But looking at the first one again, so we'll be beginning with that one. It is following up from when Michael returns from fighting in World War II, and he is a war hero who is highly respected, and his father wants him to do nothing to be involved with the family crime business, because he thinks that his son does have a future away from it. And at first this feels very similar to the show Gotham, wherein it's the season, which probably was paying homage to this. The character of Falcone, or as it's if there was 4th season, I think. And I've watched Gotham a little bit. I'm pretty sure it's season 4. It's only 5 seasons long. Yeah, it was season 4. So, in it, the Don there didn't want his daughter to be involved at all in the family crime business, but she eventually did and took it over. And yeah, that was very similar to Michael, but at first, Michael Corleone really didn't want anything to do with the family business. He just wanted to be able to live out his life and live a respectable life as a decent person with the woman he loves. And that seemed to be working out until a deal gone wrong led to the near death of his father, and that led to him having to, well, not having to, but he decided to retaliate against the mobsters and killed both a corrupt police captain and a rival mobster, but had to go into hiding. And I thought that was very well done, and that was the beginning of his villain's journey and fall from grace. I think that it was very interesting to see as he went into hiding and he started to become more and more corrupt, both morally and really he was becoming much worse of a person. He was not the man he was at the beginning of the movie, and his fall from grace continues, especially after his first wife is bombed in an attempt on his life, and when he returns back to New York, he goes and begins to take over the family business from his father, who names him the next in line to take over. And when this transition is beginning, he, of course, respects his father and is loyal to him until the very end, where his father passes away. And although he does promise to try to make things better, he really isn't able to, for the first 2 movies at least. According to the trailer to the 3rd one, he does, but again, I haven't watched that one yet. So, I'm just going with the first 2 again, and I think that a beautifully done scene, which is very cinematic and appropriate, was the scene where he is at his sister's son's baptism and he is being the godfather to his nephew, and during that he is reaffirming his vows and his son's, well, not sons, his nephew's, his godson's values to the church. And as they're saying this, saying stuff like, do you reject the devil and all that other stuff, we see a great montage of all of his rivals being killed off. And out of the 2 movies, I think that was probably the best scene of all of it. And I really enjoyed the first movie. I was very intrigued and could not wait to see part 2. And part 2, it did not disappoint, but although I do think part 1 was better than part 2. Although that is my opinion, I'm not really sure what other people think. I know that both of these movies are mainly loved, and I did enjoy them. Part 2 definitely shows him falling further and further as he has to deal with now an attempt on his life and deal with it, more responsibilities, fully being the head of the mafia, and a few other things like a trial going up against him, and some problems with his wife, which I think were all handled well. Although I think his wife was a little dumb, especially with confronting him saying that she would leave him, because I don't think that is a smart idea to tell one of the most powerful men who you already fear and want to take your kids away from. Because I'm surprised that he didn't kill her, especially after she said she had an abortion of his child because she cannot stand having his child or any more of his children because they would be ruined, and she doesn't want to put them into a world with him being their father. And I think that was one flaw on her part, because as I said, you probably shouldn't be telling this to one of the most powerful people who's the head of the mafia, and there was no chance of her leaving after she said that with the kids. And I do think it is a shame what happened, but I think that it's also interesting to see. I definitely think that these are two good movies, and I love how, when you look at it, you see how the character of Michael has fallen so much from where he used to be. He used to be a very good, honorable, and really the best of people, and now he is a cold-blooded murderer who will do whatever it takes to keep his power. And I think this is a great example of the villain's journey, and that's basically just showing how a person, typically that is good, or just, a normal person, sometimes even a hero, like Anakin Skywalker, falls and becomes a horrible person. And with this, you really could say that Michael may not be the worst person in the movie. You could say that some of his rivals are far worse than him, but even when you're comparing them, he is still a bad person from once he takes over the family business, and he is definitely deserving to get whatever he deserves. Although you are interested in his story and how he falls, which I think was done very well. And yeah, I enjoyed these two movies overall. I don't understand why they're considered classics, and think that really they have been very well done. And although I do want to see part 3, I am just a little nervous since I've heard bad things about it. Thank you for watching this episode of Legends and Theories. Please like the video, leave some comments, subscribe to the channel, and share it with your friends. And may the Force be with you.